Justin?
Well, Beth and Bruce, they are still doing rescues out here. That is the story of the day. In fact, I want to pan down here. Here is yet another rescue, another family rescued from downtown Cedar Rapids.
As we take a look at the Cedar and Cedar Rapids, 18.8 right now. The forecast inching upward a little bit. Now the forecast 22.1 feet by early Friday.
Who could ever have imagined in June of 2008, a perfect storm of heavy winter snowfall and relentless waves of springtime downpours deluged the upper Midwest that quickly filled the 100-year floodplain, with Cedar Rapids and Linn County in line to get the brunt of the Cedar River's rising water.
Additional amounts, 1 to 3 inches of rain, could cause more problems across the viewing area. Some of those totals may be a bit higher tonight.
But the rains kept coming and the water kept rising. With flood stage at 12 feet and recent experience of the flood of '93, the National Weather Service warned of the possible approach to the all-time record set back in 1929 and 1851 of a 20-foot river stage. But the rains kept coming and the water kept rising. At the flood's crest of over 31 feet, more than 11 feet deeper than any recorded measure, the river was nearly 2 miles wide in downtown Cedar Rapids. Washing over 1,300 city blocks, the current was so strong that buildings were moved, foundations twisted, railway bridges were torn from their banks. The devastation spread beyond the 500-year floodplain, stripping the topsoil from valuable farmland and rendering heroic sandbagging efforts useless. This muddy, rancid, destructive surge was now the flood of the millennium. City Hall, jails, court facilities on famous Mays Island, along with the Central Fire and Police Headquarters, all completely flooded and displaced. 10 Linn County administrative, judicial, human services, and public health facilities damaged and displaced. 9 cultural icons of museums, theaters, cultural centers, as well as our public library damaged, displaced, or destroyed, including the historic landmark Paramount Theater. The entire town of Palo underwater. Nearly 6,000 residential properties damaged, with as many as 1,500 homes that must be demolished. 3,300 school kids and daycare children displaced. 1,360 jobs lost in Cedar Rapids alone. The preliminary estimate of residential valuation tax loss for Cedar Rapids alone is $81.7 million. The total damage and loss to the Cedar Rapids and Linn County community is estimated at $5 billion and growing. Months have passed. The rebuilding is underway. The resiliency and commitment of this community to come back even stronger is inspiring. Today, as you drive along the I-380 corridor, it appears that life is somewhat back to normal. You see a beautiful river and traffic in our downtown area. You may even forget that you are crossing the epicenter of one of the worst natural disasters in the nation. What you don't see among the various signs of resurrection is that over 70% of the buildings are still vacant. What you don't see are business owners struggling with a financial burden to reopen and then trying to hang on, hoping the rest of the community can rebuild around them, or giving up entirely, taking with them jobs and livelihoods. At first glance, what looks like neighborhoods are block after block of now empty houses at various stages of disrepair, many abandoned completely. What you don't see are thousands of people who are forced to live, doubled and tripled up with family or friends, not for just a few days or a few weeks, but for months and possibly for years. While the damage and economic loss from this flood is staggering, the ongoing human costs could be catastrophic. Battling overwhelming odds, working unrelentingly for months trying to restart their lives, These people are living every day with the unknown, going to bed each night with the fear of uncertainty. And our health and human services organizations that normally help in times like this have been significantly impaired themselves. With state and federal assistance and an outpouring of private donations, our road to recovery has just begun. We are Iowans and we are determined, but we have a huge financial gap that we can't fill alone. And that gap is billions of dollars. Linn County in Cedar Rapids has long been an economic engine for Iowa, one of the largest grain processing cities in the world and a huge provider of revenue for the state. With 6 of our largest 10 employers not directly affected by the flood, we continue to be a huge market for economic growth and a great place for young families to live and build careers. We must not only replace what we lost, but we must rebuild the infrastructure and the social and cultural fabric of our community just to maintain what we still have and keep Iowa's economy healthy and growing. The 20,000 people directly affected by this flood represent a town the size of Mason City. The 5,400 homes is the equivalent of Independence and Owine and all their businesses. Remove these cities from the map, and it's not only a tragic human loss for Iowa, but the negative economic impact would ripple from river to river. This is an opportunity to do something amazing for Iowa. But there are significant needs that must first be met before real hope and rebuilding is possible. This is an opportunity to do something important for Iowa, but a tremendous financial gap must be filled before we can again be a vibrant, sustainable city supporting a happy and productive population. This is an opportunity to do something lasting for Iowa. We need your continued support and funding to help the people of Cedar Rapids, Linn County, and all of Iowa.